when I find someone struggling with money, I know. Galatians 6:7 says, God cannot be fooled. You will be reaping what you are sowing. There is an effort we will always put in to go to brokenness. Do not be lied to. Financial freedom is the real true freedom. That's why you see most of the people who are trapped in the financial struggle, they go for the easiest remedy, which is borrowing.
If you personally lost everything, you have 500K in cash, what would you do to try and come back up?
Let me first help you put this question in context. I can say 500,000 into 20 million in space of a year. No one goes to the Father unless through me. When the Holy Spirit helped me to understand the verse, I figured that I am the way, the truth, and the land. Tossa sente mutulo nga tonnakola sente ng'oli mutulo. Our whole entire curriculum, from baby class to graduation day, there is no single mention by any teacher with any information about money. There is no curriculum financial literacy.
What is a mindset, would you say, that is holding Ugandans and keeping them broke?
I've realized that in Uganda, we have what they call a deal economy. We tell people that it takes 10 to 15 years to be a billionaire. They say no. Why not 2? And when I'm usually talking about that message, I tell people that I studied about the army. The army, when it's going to war, the highest rank on the battlefield is a cannon. The general never steps on the battlefield to shoot bullets. That's why you see, when US is attacking Afghanistan, the generals stay in Washington.
The situation room.
In the situation room, and they put the screen where they can locate all their cannons. And they keep on just saying, tell them to retreat, tell Alpha to retreat, tell Beta, tell them, and everyone they are telling on the ground just says, Roger that.
Thank you for coming on the show, Newton.
Yes.
Very excited to have you here. For those who do not know you, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Newton Buteraba, House of Wealth. I wear many hats. I deal in real estate, but I set up House of Wealth to help people and corporations on their journey to make, grow, and keep money. So I've been in the financial literacy space. I know about business. I've helped people about business. I've helped people start up, help people get out of debt. I am currently on the journey of becoming an advocate. And I think I'm enjoying it. So when I add the law, it's just going to be a cherry on the cake. Yes.
Why did you seek to add law? I know in some organizations you see a CEO who has business training, adds a degree in law to be able to understand implications, risk implications. How is this working, or what were you looking at?
Now, for many things, I've noticed that when you're in the space of talking to people as a speaker, as an advisor, the more you know, the more valuable.
Of course.
If you look at the definition of money, you can look at money as a medium of exchange, but also you can look at money as a store of value.
Yes.
It follows that if money is a store of value, I could also turn myself into a store of value. So now imagine me with a degree of statistics, a degree of IT, a master's in information security, and a degree in law. It helps me bring more to the table in terms of what I call advisory. The people I used to advise when I was initially a financial advisor, I could just talk about money and investment. So a person comes to me and says, I'm struggling with debt. I want to get out of debt. So I could have the financial knowledge of how they could budget better, how they could negotiate better. But now that I also know the law, I know how mortgages work. I know how far you can be pushed by the bank because of the law. So I realized that when you have the law, now you can juggle the rules. And also to add, every game you must play, you must know the rules.
Of course.
If you do not know the rules, you're just participating in the game.
True.
Yes.
What is House of Wealth exactly?
So, House of Wealth was an idea that was birthed after I watched the family, what I call the wealthiest family to ever exist, House of Rothschild. So Rothschild, I was fascinated about Rothschild. I read about them, and I actually figured that even the name Rothschild wasn't their original name. So they used to live in the ghetto. And while they were in the ghetto, they were Jews in the ghetto. But while they were in the ghetto, they used to be the ones with the money, because Jews keep gold with themselves. They keep those minerals, then they keep cash. So while they were still in Vienna, in Austria, in all this German side, they used to have money, but they were in the ghetto. So princes who were in the palace would run out of money. Kings would run out of money. So they would send someone to go to the ghetto to borrow. Now the direction would be that you go to the Red Shield. There is a family when you reach the ghetto, but that family has a red shield on the door. So Red Shield is Rothschild. So when he lent them money, and he realized that when you read Proverbs 22:7, borrower is a slave to the lender.
Yes.
The rich rule over the poor. So because he realized that princes were borrowing from him, he now wanted to invoke the borrower is a slave. So he started negotiating with them that, why am I in the ghetto? Why don't you take me to the palace? That's how Rothschild was able to move his family. And now princes would find a way to connect him and bring him to the palace. And they gave him a name, Baron Rothschild. So imagine from the ghetto now to the high table. Now he built the first banking system as we know of it, the modern banking system.
You are 5 brothers. I want you each to start a banking business in a different country. One to go and open a house in Paris, one in Vienna, one in London. Choose the most important centers, so that when money is to be sent from here to London, let us say, you won't have to risk life and gold and you here in Frankfurt. We'll just send a letter to Nathan in London saying, pay so-and-so. And that will be offset by loans from London to Frankfurt. Understand?
Yes.
In your day, there will be many wars in Europe. And nations that have money to transport will come to the Rothschilds.
Now, they were lending governments. You would be amazed that while Rothschild was lending Britain to fight Napoleon, his son was lending Napoleon to fight Britain. In other words, any loss or any win, they would still win because the family was lending. So when I understood how they played with money, how they built wealth, how they came from the ghetto, I was like, I would start up House of wealth. But now, when I start up House of Wealth, it has to be a mindset change agent. I realize that what we struggle with, the thing they talk about in Hosea 4:6, my people have perished for lack of knowledge. If you go and read Luke 23:34, Jesus is on the cross and he's also saying, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they are doing. When you also read, I think it's John, it will be John 4, where Jesus is on the well and he asks the lady for water. The lady is saying, we can't give you water. We are Samaritans. And Jesus is telling her, if you knew. You realize now the Bible, the whole entire scripture, is highlighting to us the repercussions of ignorance. So I realized I need to change just the mindset. If someone tunes the mindset, the money just comes. So when I got my friend called Byron, we tried to design a logo. Mm-hmm. Now notice, there is something you see about this logo. What do you see?
I see a question, how?
A question mark.
With a question mark.
So now, notice that if it was how, House of Wealth, the question mark would be at the end. But we brought it to be in the middle because we want to change mindsets. The normal mindset would be that if I say how, the question mark should be at the end. But we wanted to change mindsets. So in other words, we realize that you know what amount of money you want, when you want it, where you want it, and why you want it. For us, when you come to House of Wealth, we shall tell you how to go about it. And we shall suggest different parts, the how. But it would involve you changing the mind of thought. And that's how you can best benefit from us. That's House of Wealth.
When you talk about mindset change,
yes,
you have touched on how your own mindset changed.
Yes.
Do you have an example or two of a client whose mindset changed after being in your presence and the impact that it had? So we understand.
Yes. Now, let me tell you something, Herbert. We have impacted millions as House of Wealth. We have faced, when I faced people, hundreds of thousands. When I was actively in work, I would meet approximately 1,500 per year. But I'm going to give you stories that are different, that they transcend a whole continent. People call me because I told you I have clients in 90 countries. Someone called me from Nepal and he says, you mentioned about value chain. I realized I was doing things differently and wrongly. I'm going to apply value chain. And when we thought about value chain, I was picking it from John 14:6. You see, in John 14:6, Jesus is saying, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father unless through me. Mm-hmm. When the Holy Spirit helped me to understand the verse, I figured that what he actually meant that he was a broker.
Middleman.
He's a middleman. And what does he do as a middleman? The day you pray, no one would have their prayer go to his Father unless through him. How did I use it in my way? In real estate, I realized I was better off not to go into getting money, finding land, talking to squatters, paying off squatters, clearing the RDC, talking to the chairman, getting the grader to clear the land, surveyor, get the land, put in stone, mark stones, process titles, look for the market. All I needed to find a seller of land who has already cleared, finished squatters. If there is any court case, they have finished. They have called surveyors. They have put mark stones. And I asked them, how much is a plot with a title? And they mention a plot with a title. They mention the fee. My role is to be in the middle and look out for people. And I tell them, guys, I've opened up an estate. So no one would access a very nice plot unless through me. I am the way, the truth, and the land. You get the idea? And I can tell you that the very first deal I transacted, my agent was called Kaima. He took me to the country's largest owner or biggest owner of real estate. And the first plots which we sold, I didn't deposit any money. I never needed any money. The man mentioned plots on sale, and I had a clientele online. I connected.
You are a conduit.
Exactly. So the people, if you go on my channels, the people will tell you that the guy changed the way I see money. But it came from myself changing the way I see money. The example I will give you to answer that particular question were my parents. My parents are abroad. But I told them, enjoy abroad. Then I showed them the calendar. You'll be back. Don't buy a mortgage. Don't buy a car. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. And I showed them how they would better off retire at home. They changed their mindset when I explained to them about a mortgage. Because I was telling them the word mortgage, it has M-O-R-T, which is mort, from mourir, to die, and it has gage, from French, gager, to pledge. So initially, lenders used to give money, and people would give all excuses for not paying lenders. My chicks died, it overrained, I lost my father, now you see the soil, now I can't pay, I've been sick, forgive me, extend the debt. The lenders became sharp and they introduced a pledge that never dies, which is a mortgage. So when you get a mortgage and it is recorded on the title, you must pay. There is no excuse. And the outcome is a foreclosure. So
if you don't pay.
Now, when I showed all these people these things, they change. And the people who have watched my podcasts and they have religiously had their mindsets change, you can't tell them anything.
True.
There is a billionaire who came from US and he said, I want you to guide me on how to live in this country. And I told him, the challenge you're going to have is a lot of money, because he had a lot of money. And I told him, you know what? You're going to spend the very first 3 months like a broke individual. No car, no nothing. I want to tell you, he did that. I'm talking about a person who has $1 billion in cash, over $1 billion in cash. And over like 300 titles all over. A lot of land. But choosing to say, let me be the clay. Let the master turn me into a pot. And I watched him struggle in the 3 months. I watched him on the border. I watched him walk. After those 3 months, I told him, well done. If you can live as though you do not have, you can handle the country. Because Uganda is a microeconomy. What do we know about a microeconomy? 1 billion in Uganda can leave your wallet or your account in 2 days. That's what happens in these economies. Someone comes and show you something because you're from abroad, you get excited. By the time they tell you bought air, it will be just 2 days of living here. So I wanted him to first be in the place, get to know, because when you're back, the people when you go abroad, the people you leave, they also change because life changes us.
Yes.
People get heartbroken. People go into loans. People divorce. Society, environment, life changes us.
Yes.
So when you have just returned, it's important that you study the childhood friends, the high school friends, the campus friends you left.
True.
Are they true to their word? Did they change? But that can only and only be visualized if you first go down and you relax that you do not have the money. So after the 3 months, when he was now in it, I said, now we go and buy a car. We went, even the car. I told him, we can't start with an expensive car. We just need a car to solve transport. And we got a car that just solves transport. I told him, when you want the flamboyance, you will go through it.
Yes.
But I do not want you to start with a flamboyant car in a country which has borders ramming into you all of a sudden. Let's start with a car, such that you know how to wiggle around. How to wiggle around with the border, how to wiggle around with the police, how to wiggle around with the people who are at the washing bay. I want to promise you that he has spent a year in Uganda. And I know he can survive any regime change, any weather, anything.
He's ready.
Because of the appreciation that games have rules. And when you follow the rules, you're even better off with a mentor. You're better off with someone by your side to guide you, to keep the money. Because he wasn't struggling with the money. He already has it. Now what we're struggling with is, how do we protect? And that's how I can tell you. I have very many people. If we were to mention people who say, you've changed my mindset, and we go to my WhatsApp, we need a minimum of a month. It's a process, and I think I've played my part.
Yes.
But also people like you, like CEO Insights, this page, this channel. When we move the message, you were part of the teaching.
True.
You remember when I talked about the value chain?
True.
We are all in agriculture. Because at the end of the agriculture value chain, you must be eating the food. So that's what puts all of us in agriculture. Because the agriculture value chain starts with the seed, ends when you're eating what was planted. So if I have the content to teach, and you have the channel to record, and you put it out, you are in the training value chain. And I'm really very thankful for the opportunity to teach, for the opportunity to talk to this audience. Yeah, but that's what I can tell you. For all we've done, we've changed mindsets. Yes.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Regarding people who might have limited means,
okay,
or who have lost it and coming up. If you personally lost everything, you have 500K in cash, what would you do to try and come back up?
Okay, if I lost everything, let me first help you put this question in context. I've realized that up to this very moment, the Bible, when it talks about Proverbs 22:1, and they say, at any juncture where there is money and a name, choose a name. I realize that if you have a name, it far surpasses the money. People who have built names actually do not need the money to start from anywhere. they will just feed off the name. However, I've also noticed that if I had 500,000, I find it a lot of money to do very many ventures. Did you know that 500,000 is 50 trays of eggs? 500,000 is 50 bunches of matoke. Now that's if I want to take long, but 500,000, if I have it, I could go into making sure I'm a real estate broker. I open up a TikTok account. That's free of charge. I have my phone. I go to police, CPS. Actually, I go to CPS and I go to Interpol. And I get what they call a certificate of good conduct or clearance from police.
Yes.
That document will allow me deal with any individual. For example, we are here and you're selling this sumptuous house. But you wouldn't relate with me until you get some comfort.
True.
If I flashed you my national ID, but I also showed you a certificate, a letter from Interpol and police, you'll be like, at least I can trust him. Then you would allow me to use my phone and put all this on my channel. So, first of all, I can go looking for rentals, affordable rentals. I can target the middle class. All I need is to go to a suburb, talk to owners, enter the house, put on the channel, consistently talking about the value of those buildings and picking commission. I would build a name. Now the 500,000, I wouldn't use it to buy and sell. Whereas it's also an option, but personally it would delay me.
Yes.
Because if I bought 100 bunches of matoke, I would supply them in the market. Because Uganda is a food economy.
True.
A food economy, it means I can buy and sell vegetables. I can buy and sell food. I can buy and sell grain. But it would take me some time. But when I go into that brokerage of services, it will still work. The other thing I can do is, everyone is now struggling with waste. I can get in touch with a company that is collecting waste. And then me, I be the agent talking to landlords about picking the waste. So it's me who has the contract with the landlord to pick the waste. Then I talk to the other company and I tell them, when you go, this is the house. I want you there every Wednesday. This is the house. The guy who picks waste from my apartments, he charges 10K per apartment. So I usually give him 120,000 every month. And that is only one block of apartment. I can imagine if I had 10. No individual who is on a block of apartment is doing anything with their waste. So it means everyone wants it away. If I approached 10 apartments, 10 blocks of apartments which have 10 units, I'll be having 100 units. That's 1 million shillings. There is a lot I can do with 500,000. I could even start up a cleaning company. All I need is a mop, a bucket, detergent, and something I would call maybe nice shirts, which I would brand for the company. Those we can get. I need 2 individuals whom I can train how to clean. When I was in the UK, I worked in an international school as a cleaner. And I realized after cleaning very many toilets that actually cleaning is fun. I used to enjoy it because it helped me pay my to help me survive in the UK. It couldn't contribute to my tuition because it was minimum wage, but making a place clean. So I realized it is lucrative business to clean. If I have 2 cleaners, it means I would still be a marketer. I just come on the business and I say, can we clean? So I allocate a cleaner. But I make sure that when the cleaner cleans, I show them how to. Because me, I know how to. So to answer your question, I can flip 500,000 into 20 million in a space of a year. And I can flip it into, I think, double it into a space of 2 years. And after those 2 years,
it's up to the races.
It's
you know, you mentioned several good points.
Yes.
We had a cleaner on the show here.
Yes.
She's doing very well for herself.
Absolutely.
And she said, the market is so huge. Anyone can start today and they will thrive.
Yes.
And she said she has no concern about competition and all these things, as long as you know what you're doing and you do it well to the client's level, or,
yes.
you know,
yes.
There's no issue. So I agree with you 100% on that. We had another guest who is in West Peking, right? He said that there is the market. There is no discussion about the market. It is huge. And a thing that you've mentioned, a theme that I've picked through all this.
Yes.
Initially, you talked about mindset change.
Yes.
And in these examples that you're giving, you gave the example of buy and sell product.
Yes.
Eggs, make Rolexes and all that, or sell with a commission.
Yes.
Matoke, do that.
Yes.
But the flipping speed is a bit slow. The amount you're making is a bit slow.
True.
But when you're talking about the service-based, it is clear that the mindset you're using is different from the one of the eggs and the matoke.
Absolutely.
And it is also clear that with that mindset, you can actually make this money. It is realistic to make this money.
I'm telling you.
Because any apartment complex that you go to, 10 more building people, they want this trash. They can't pay the 10K. And you can actually make the money.
Absolutely.
So it is really, if there were 5-10 people who had 500K each, what percentage do you think would look at based on your experience, what percentage do you think would focus on the eggs and matoke type businesses as opposed to this that you're talking about?
Now, in this country, 90%, 95% would go into having small money and doing small businesses.
The egg.
Yeah. And the reason it's because lack of exposure. And exposure can be gotten from travel.
Yes.
That's why I usually tell people, if you get a chance, you travel. When you travel, I don't know. I don't know what they put in a plane. I think when it rises like this, it must be rising with your brain. In 2012, January, 31st December 2011, going into 2012, I was in the middle of London to see the fireworks. Most beautiful fireworks in the world at the time, because they were preparing for the Olympics. London wanted to put up a show. 500,000 people from different countries in attendance. Now, I think I was under what they call the Big Ben. Big Ben, that clock in London.
Yes.
But there were very many people. And there is something I saw, I have never seen it anywhere. There was a guy who must have come, either he was Indian or Pakistani, but he had come with a stove and he was roasting sausages. Remember, the way Britain loves standards, you can't have a CD or store.
No.
You can't be having fire where people are going to collect.
True.
But the guy had already come. He had his charcoal. He was there with his charcoal. He was roasting sausages. Now, this is the amazing thing. Every sausage was £5. But as we waited for the midnight, such that we go into the new year, all of us were hungry. But to control, for health and safety, they had locked. Because when you come to see fireworks, they keep on counting people.
True.
When they reach a number, they lock up.
Yes.
So you are here, you see McDonald's the other side, but you can't go. You're here, you see KFC the other, but you can't go. And we were hungry. And this guy, I think by 7 to 8, 9, he was selling at £5. But 9 to midnight, he was in £20. £20. 10 to 20 pounds of sausage. And he had his birthdays. And a pack of sausages. I could not believe this guy. I kept on doing the math. And I'm like, okay. A pack of sausages itself, a full pack can be £5.
Yes.
But he's selling each at 5. And he has a full. Why I brought you that example, it's because this thing called being wealthy, do not be lied. It's a deliberate endeavor to escape. You wake up and say, I do not have this, yet I want this. You go for what you want. People who wait to be motivated such that they go for what they want, no wonder they take long to find it.
True.
And when I'm usually talking about that message, I tell people that I studied about the army. The army, when it's going to war, the highest rank on the battlefield is a colonel. The general never steps on the battlefield to shoot bullets. That's why you see, when US is attacking Afghanistan, the generals stay in Washington.
In the situation room.
And they put the screen where they can locate all their colonels. And they keep on just saying, tell them to retreat, tell Alpha to retreat, tell Beta, tell them to. And everyone they are telling on the ground just says, Roger that. He gives up. He does not differ from the instruction. So what do they do in the army? They teach discipline, such that when you are 10,000 miles away and they say stop, you don't say why. You just stop and come back. Now, it follows that in life, we have operations, the guys who go on the ground to shoot, and strategy, the guys who stay in Washington to count about the war, to strategize, to see how it will go. When we are in life individually, we tend to occupy ourselves in operations. You wash your clothes, you iron your clothes, you polish your shoes, you get your laptop, you charge your phone, you drive the car, and you do that. You are in operations. And life has been designed that you can do those operations for 70 years. Till you say, I can no longer do anymore. The day you start picking an hour a day for strategy, such that you are the general, but also the colonel, you will see life changing. You sit at home and you say, okay, I've done my boss's work. Now let me see how my boss's work links into my final destination for wealth. Do not be lied to. Financial freedom is the real true freedom Because we have been sold a lie that retirement is about the age. If you plan well, you can actually retire at 24.
Yes. Yes.
Imagine, God forbid, your parents die, they bequeath you their estate at 18.
Yes.
If you plan well at 18, by 24 you don't need to work.
True.
Because you've inherited. Now, let's say you were not so lucky to inherit, which would mean you're going to really work. Now, you would organize yourself to work and work and work and work. But you need to be the general where you say, okay, wife is pregnant. Then I can no longer stay. We can no longer stay in a studio. We shall need a 2-bedroom. What would we pay? What will we pay the 2-bedroom with? Can this money come? Can it come from my salary? If the answer is yes, okay. Will the salary also allow me give birth to another kid and also get a bigger house? Remember, when a family comes, the kid itself comes. It comes with a maid. It comes with a bigger house. Comes with need of a car.
Yes.
To drop the kid.
Yes. Maybe
so. Those things come as expenses. If you do not sit and say, wait a minute, how far am I towards this? How will I escape? You will stay in prison. That's why I tell people, at any one moment, every day, you sit and say, okay, knowing what I know now, this earning won't do. They either increase this salary or promote me, or I change job, or I add another income, or that's why you see most of the people who are trapped in the financial struggle, they go for the easiest remedy, which is borrowing. The easiest remedy. When they are stuck and they do not have money, they're like, how about if I borrow? Okay. Then they borrow. Then they see that the loan will be the one to settle. Yet the loan should be number 35 on the things that should actually help us escape. Just being there and you say, okay, before I go into the loan, what can I do? What can I do? I have 2 cars. Why don't I sell one? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I have 2 acres. What would happen if I chop off a 1/4 acre and I get real cash? But people get emotional.
Of course.
They have 5 acres.
They inherited.
They can't sell a 1/4 acre. They can't sell 1/2 acre. They even can't sell 1 acre. Yet the one they brought from also bought. You get the idea. Imagine we all didn't sell. True. No one would have land.
True.
But people need to know that whatever they have now, they can lose and acquire more and better. You're in a big house. You're distraught. You get the house, you give it to a financial institution. You've not done the math. Before you know it, the financial institution tells you, give me back the money. You don't have the money. And if you notice, as a lawyer, I can tell you, the most cases we've read about people who are struggling with banks, people are just changing their original positions. They give them the money when they are happy. Then they start to look through their agreement with the bank and they're like, hey, did my wife sign? My wife did not sign. Let me tell them my wife did not sign. You get the idea? Yet you do not have to do that because money won't be where it can't be. You get that? Money won't be where it can't be. Look, you have to look at money as a visitor. it studies you. You be at home and get a visitor. Then the moment they enter, tell them, here we do not leave the shoes. Here we do not do. Hey, you're holding the cup like that, but here we do not hold the cup like that. We do not flush the toilet like that. After flushing it, when you bring all those rules, the visitor just comes and says, thank you very much, but I have to leave.
Yes.
And that's how money is. Before it comes to Herbert, before money comes to Newton, it looks at Newton to see whether it will be a welcome visitor. Then it realizes that Newton doesn't pay debts. He plays around such that he makes the lenders either forget debt, yet no one can ever forget that they loaned you. You're trying to conjure up ways of failing to pay. You're not keeping good relations. You're just overspending. Then money is like, okay, I will come, but only for a short while. But because that's a hidden law of money, which they never teach in school, which they never teach in corridors, when we say these things, people say, he's lying. But they are rules of the game. And the rules require you to prepare yourself. So to answer your question, I would want people to deliberately escape from prison. Prison break is a deliberate effort. You will notice that Scofield teabag Lincoln barrels. They kept on planning. How do we escape from Fox River? How do we escape? Should we start by breaking there? What there? What here? Scofield had to come to the same prison with the whole body tattooed with the structural plans of the prison, the architectural plans of the prison. You see that there is a deliberate effort.
Yes.
So, poverty as we know it is a prison. Escaping requires a plan. Escaping requires deliberate effort. I can't get anyone out of poverty if they refuse.
True.
We can say whatever we say, Herbert. We can even speak till cows return. But only those who will say, hey, he has mentioned that. I'm done with this, I'm taking it. Hey, I'm picking this. It's a bunch of matoke. You pick one. It's a bunch of bananas. You pick a banana. You're like, let me run away with this. That banana you run away with is what will get you out. So I want people to open their minds that we are here to mention things to trick their mind. That it will be back to them to decide where
To take
their choice.
Tell me, from your experience, and I really want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yes.
You've dealt with very many people across all levels.
Yes.
What is a mindset, would you say, that is holding Ugandans and keeping them broke, really? That they believe that is actually?
I've realized that in Uganda, we have what they call a deal economy. You work with someone 1 year, 2 years. The next time you see them, they have opened up a block of apartments. They have a very brand new car, very splash and posh wedding. Then you wonder, what trick did they use? They must have stolen, okay. You also conjure up a way to steal from where you are. So, the whole idea of wealth growing little by little, which I think is Proverbs 9:11. They say dishonest wealth dwindles, but wealth that grows little by little lasts longer. It actually is the wealth that grows. So we have a mindset where no one wants to put in the time. We tell people that it takes 10 to 15 years to be a billionaire. Listen, why not 2? Why not 1 year? And the people they have shown us on TV who are wealthy, after some time, they have to be in court. So it means that we actually took a wrong blueprint for how to be wealthy.
True.
The people we call wealthy have court cases to defend the wealth they have. But already we had them in our mind that they are the guys we should follow. So dishonesty is all over Uganda. You get a brother who is struggling in the village, and you tell them, you know what? I'm going to bring you to the city. Let me give you an example. I was dealing in cattle, and I had a primary school classmate whom I bumped into. And I'm like, hey! And he said, TV. I'm usually seeing you on TV. And I'm like, yeah. Man, you're doing well, but how can you help me? And I'm like, I have no job. However, let me think about something. So when I thought about venturing into cattle, buying and selling, I thought about him. And I raised him. And I called him. And I told him, you know what? I'm going to put you in charge of buying cattle. I hire the car. I give my brother cash. You go with my brother. You buy cattle.
You select.
Do you know anyone who can help you? He said, yeah. I also have a friend who was a butcher. It's that guy who was who was a butcher. So it works for me that we even have experience.
Yes.
So I would give them my brother just hold cash for them. They would go to the field. They would buy the cattle, put the cattle on the truck. They bring to the abattoir for sale. How much was I investing? $10,000. So they would go buy maybe a cow for, let's say, they could buy a bull for, let's say, 1.2 million. Transport finishes in like 100,000. That's 1.3. Then we would sell at 1.5, which would be 200,000 on each. So if we have 10 and we're averaging 150 to 200, we can make 1.5 million, 2 million. I told him we can do that twice a week. So it follows that we would average maybe 1.5, we would average 3 to 4 a week. And I told him, if you can actually do that, for me I already have things that are going on. I will put you in charge. You will have to do it bigger and massive. I want to tell you that he got on board and started influencing everything. That he would talk to the people we are buying from to add in some money. Then he would tell people whom we were selling to, he would tell them the price we bought, such that they would, because remember me, I wasn't going to follow it up really. I had my brother and I had set it up for them. If it was going to be flourishing, I would have created a job for my brother and him. So what we realized, he was conniving with now the guys at the abattoir. So he would tell them, That one we bought at 1.2. Tell him, giving him 1.2. The reason now what that would mean is that he would actually get that 1.2. It meant that if we sold at 1.2, then they would sell now. Then they would sell from 1.2 above. I would have just helped them deliver the cow. And he knew that the moment everyone says they're buying at 1.2, then I'll be like, let's get the money.
That's the price.
Yeah. Let's get, at least we've not made the loss. Let's get the money. So when we realized that that's what it was like, I told them I'm no longer engaging because we were making losses and we made a lot of losses. We actually lost that money. But it follows that now I can't get him engaged in any of my empire.
True.
So remember, he's hurting someone who has. If he had honestly acted, I would have said, okay, let's leave cows. Let's go into coffee. If he was successful at cows, we will now go into coffee.
Faithful in the little,
yes,
into the bigger one.
Exactly. That's Matthew 25:14-30. You get the idea. We would move. We would now leave cattle. We would go into coffee. Then later I will be asking them, guys, why don't you guys go to China? But because of dishonesty, that mindset of I want to be rich tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow, today.
It's taking too long.
It's taking too long. Now, the other thing I've realized is the other mindset that is making Ugandans broke. The mindset of I can't take advice.
Oh.
If you read, I think it's in Proverbs 24 where they say, by wisdom a house is built. You need to look for wisdom. Someone is going to guide you into something you didn't know. And there is always someone who knows. I want to tell you about I have 4 degrees, but I still consult.
Of course.
Even in real estate. When you were making me move, did I ask you about?
Yes, several times.
But look at my friends. Haji Bakalwa is also into construction and he's a builder. I would have said his knowledge he gives me is enough.
I know it all.
My dad is into real estate. I'm also into real estate. I've told you that I've met the real estate gurus. But even when I find Herbert and I realize he's into real estate, I'm like, what can I get from him? Now, notice that countries where people are advising, those countries, people get a chance to flourish. The Jim Rohns, the Brian Stacys, the Napoleon Hills, the Kiyosakis. They taught the whole entire America about financial literacy. But you come to a country like Uganda, where our whole entire curriculum, from baby to graduation day in a degree, I don't care whether it's 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, from baby class to graduation day, there is no single mention by any teacher with any information about money. There is no curriculum for financial literacy. There is no exam for financial. There is no exercise on financial literacy. And they will tell you that everyone is studying such that they find money. How?
And do what with it.
And do what with it. Could it be possible that we can all be born and become doctors without going to medical school? Can we argue the law without being lawyers? Can we participate in Olympics without knowing how to jump hurdles? Akibua. The very first gold Uganda got. Do you know where we got the gold from? He had a trainer from Britain. If Akibua did not allow to be clay, such that the trainer turns him into a pot, we have no gold.
True.
Because in the Olympics, which were in Munich is in Germany, Akibua is black. You know what they did to him? They put him in the hardest lane, which is lane 1 for hurdles. The hardest lane is always lane 1 or the extreme lane. Because when you come running and you try to turn, the physics does not allow you to just, and now we have hurdles to jump. But because Akibua had been trained from the hills in Fort Portal by this white man who had exposure, even if Akibua had been put in lane 100, 150, he was ready. Because when he was training, he was put in sacks of sand and climbing a mountain. So it means the force that would pull him like the sand, he would handle it while turning. And guess what? We got the gold. He allowed to listen. Look at boxing. In boxing, the most important people, who are even more important than the boxer himself, are 2 individuals. The coach and someone they call a catman. What does the coach do? The coach is giving you a strategy. Because when you're boxing, you have to protect the face. How do you protect the face? By putting the gloves here. Notice that when you put gloves here, you blur and block your vision. So who is watching? The coach. So the coach looks at the strengths of your opponent, and when they ring the bell and you sit in the corner, he tells you he's swinging from the right. Do not allow his swing. Or he tells you he's hitting with the jab. Move away from the jab. Move away from the jab. But I want you to look at the boxer when he's seated and you see the instructions. He's actually not listening. He will take in very little because they have banged him. And as they bang him, the catman, the person they call the catman, is so important. When they hit you and you get a cut, the ref can stop the fight. And he says,
It's too much.
It's too much. Now the catman must be very good at his work such that he covers. That's why you see they even put they put jelly. They smear jelly to stop the blood flow. Then they press. Then they put ice. Those are the 2 most important people on that ring. Imagine a boxer who comes without anyone in his corner. The things they hit him with are the same problem. They hit. He comes, no catman, no advice. Then he comes back to the ring. He would lose. The point I'm making is we need to become malleable. We need to allow to become the clay, and you find your own pot. People are going to say, financial, we have very many fraudsters in the financial literacy space. And I'll say, hello, it's the same in any field. We have quack lawyers. We have quack doctors. We have quack borders. We have quack engineers. We have quack maids. We have quack for wives. We have quack for husbands. We have quack cameramen. We have quack cooks. Every field has been infiltrated. It comes back to you. Choose your financial advisor. And you say, I'll follow this guy. For example, House of Wealth has been around since 2017. A full 8 to 9 years. No case.
You're not in court addressing any case.
No court case, no police case, not anyone even on social media saying, he sold me land, I didn't get it. He sold me land, it had this. He sold me this, I had it. He gave me this advice, he's lying. No.
And those stories exist.
And
yes.
Exactly. So I usually ask people, who are you listening to? You cannot complain that the field is full of quack people. It's you to choose. They are fake shoes. But do you have fake shoes? It's because when you went, you say, those are fake shoes. You bought the nice shoes. They are fake fruits. There is even fake money. So we cannot say we do not listen to motivational speakers because they are fake. They will always be those. But I also usually know that Matthew 7:14 is to the effect that the road to life is so narrow. Because the Bible says narrow is the way to life, and few find it. But the road to destruction is huge. The people who are talking about information to help Ugandans escape is narrow. But the people who are giving out information for Ugandans to have, because if the brain is your processor, what are you feeding it with? So you see a video of people dancing, people cracking jokes, you smile, which is a good thing. But then you also see people spreading rumors. Then you also see people who are fighting. Then you also see people who are into politics. Then you also see people. So for you, at the end, your timeline, if we follow it on TikTok, it has no message on money. But you want to escape from poverty. But your diet of viewership has been laughing, anger, rumor mongering. Laughing, anger, rumor mongering.
And you bought data to see that. You used your money.
You
used your 500K.
Exactly. So that's why I told you that just you're looking at the Ugandan with the most content. I have the most content on social media. No one can beat me. Because for 5 full years, I was doing a podcast of 2 hours every Saturday. So if they go to my Facebook, they will find over 300 videos of over 1.5 hours. No one beats that. So I reached a time and I was like, I've educated the world.
I've done my part.
I've done my part. I rest. Now I will be charging, if you want, the advice. So we started with 30K per hour. Now it's 1 million. And now if you call me outside office, and if you come, you want to see me in office, it's 10,000 per minute. So if it's 60 minutes, it's 600,000. And yet I tell people, I'm on leave for a full year. Because I can. But the main idea is because I know those now who want will say, I saw this and I loved it. Where can I find you? They will even be happy to pay 1 million an hour because they know the conversation is to save them 50 million. You make one financial mistake, you're in court, you're in divorce, you're in this. When we add up the total, you're losing 200 million. But the advisor who would have advised you on debt was asking for 600K or 1 million maximum. Financial literacy requires you also to be financially intelligent. Where you say, if I give a lawyer 1 million to give me an agreement, it saves the transaction.
Yes.
But people don't have lawyers. And you find them writing agreements in Uganda. Inze, Musisi, Nguziza, Luchamuzi, Sikakibwa, Tewaja Nambye, Etakayange. Ziwedeyo. And you ask them, okay, it's good you wrote the agreement, but do you know that in this country, a Luganda agreement can't suffice in court? it has to be translated to English. Do you know how much they charge to translate an agreement? You have to go to the School of Languages. They will see your agreement, it's 4 pages, and they will say 700,000. Then they will translate it, and you will see very many gaps. Oh, we did not include what to do when he fails to finish the money. We did not include when to get into the building. So, what would it have costed if you had given a lawyer to protect you with 1 million? And they put all that. For you, you sit this side. That's why I tell you that this money thing is deliberate. When I find someone struggling with money, I know. Galatians 6:7 says, God cannot be fooled. You will be reaping what you are sowing. There is an effort we will always put in to go to brokenness. The world's largest manufacturer of alcohol hired me one time to train bar owners. And I would go to the bar and I'll ask the bar owner, let me have a book where you record the transactions. And they will say, I have no book. And I'm like, okay. You want to give birth without getting pregnant. Getting pregnant is a condition precedent for giving birth. Or you want to go to heaven without first dying. Because dying is a condition precedent for heaven, if you believe in that system. Yes. So, how are you wanting to be wealthy in your business without records? How will you know the most selling beer? How will you know what your suppliers owe you? How will you know the record of
inventory?
And they used to not have. Now, those who had records, I would say, let me see how much your customers owe you. And they would open, and you see a small kafunda having people who owe to a tune of 1 million. And you're like, why are you giving out beer on credit? And they say, these are our customers, these are the people who usually come. When you do not give them, they do not come. And you're like, okay. When you do not give them, they do not come. But those few who come, you are selling to see the profit. Do you realize that when they just come and you sell them and they do not give you the money, you've not made the sale? They could wake up, but they could not understand that 1 million was actually a lot of money until I converted the 1 million into the profit margin on every bottle. I was like, how much do you get off a bottle of beer? And it would be like 500 shillings. So I will do the math. Let me try to get my calculator here and show you. I will do the math and say that if you have 1 million shillings, which they owe you, and you divide it by 500 shillings, you will have to sell 2,000 bottles of beer. If that person goes without coming back, you will have to sell 2,000 bottles.
To come to evil.
Exactly. But what is 2,000 bottles? We divide by 25. 80 crates. Then they will wake up and say,
then you ask him, how many crates are you selling a day?
Exactly. So when will you sell 80 crates to recover that 1 million? Then they will wake up. So it follows that the money talk cannot change. This same conversation, we can have it after 20 years and we won't change a thing. It will be, will you keep records? Did you sell on credit or cash? Were you honest in the transactions? In the Holy Quran, I think the longest chapter in the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayat 261 says, those who use money in the way that Allah approves are like a seed which has 7 spikes, and every spike bringing 100 seeds. So you realize that the Quran is telling us that actually if we appropriate money well, it can only grow. And it's so easy to grow the money. That's why I told you that money is going to be a visitor. Because when you get money, those small words, let me see whether I have a note here. The note on the money, there is some lesson to learn. The small words under Bank of Uganda, very tiny words, but the most important words. They say legal tender here, legal tender for 10,000 shillings for Bank of Uganda. What that means is, if Bank of Uganda woke up one day and said that 10,000 shilling note is no longer to be used, none of us will use it. So they declare what is legal tender. But also there is some very important message there. They say legal tender for 10,000 shillings for Bank of Uganda. It means even this note belongs
To Bank
of Uganda. If the note belongs to Bank of Uganda, it means they are in charge of printing it. They are also in charge of declaring its worth. They are also in charge of recalling and giving it back. What does that imply? It actually implies that we do not have to worry about the money. Someone is in charge of printing it. So I do not agree when people start saying sente zibuze. The real argument would be, this year I have not attracted money. That's what you have to say. Your declaration should be, I want to tell you, friends, this year I have failed to attract money. Then your friends will tell you, by the way, this year I have attracted money. Because remember, money won't be where it can't be. It is a visitor. There is a reason why Britons came to Uganda first for colonization. There is a huge reason. Number one, they were welcomed. That's where it starts. Why did they come to Uganda? Number one, they were welcomed. Where they went and they were hostilities, they didn't settle. That's why you see they struggled with Bunyoro. Hostility. They didn't settle. So, money wants to come to be here, but we are hostile. It won't settle. There are places you go to and you're like, this place I can't. I already told you, there are places you go to and you're like, after 2 days, we won't be here.
True.
You land in Russia during winter. You just tell the family, guys,
I'll be back tomorrow.
We will be back. And that's how I pursued these things of how can we teach the people. The people also have to do something such that you remember in Exodus when Moses was helping the Israelites come from Egypt to go. It's mentioned that they reached a place and they reached that sea. And those people almost killed Moses. They told him, but you man, you're not serious. why did you bring us to die from the wilderness? Should have left us
in Egypt.
Such that we die, at least we will be buried next to our ancestors. You see that mindset? A mindset of choosing to leave poverty, but you still prefer that you would rather be back in poverty. If you had been a slave for 500 years, and I do not care whether that story is true or not, we just have to draw lessons. If you have been poor for over 10 years, then you should sit and say, poverty is a prison. It has denied me a very nice car. It has denied me a very nice woman. It has denied me a very nice neighborhood. It has denied me to eat the food I should have eaten. I do not want anything to do with poverty. So when they show you that now this is where you will have to go to escape, you do not start on that journey and you'll be like, but at least I should have been poor. While poor, I used to sleep. You cannot be saying that.
True.
We've decided to
commit.
We have to commit. So I've seen that mindset in Ugandans where they want very quick earnings. I've also seen the other mindset where they do not want any advice from anyone, not me alone, from anyone.
True.
Even if it's family, even if it's anyone. For them, they think because they were able to make the money, they can grow it and they can keep it themselves.
I have to ask you a question before I even go through my other questions that I have. This is, I have to ask this first. I've noticed that whenever you're talking, you have spiritual references.
Yes.
Where is this from?
That's a very good question. In all my learnings, I realized that wealth has, first of all, let's go with this 10,000 note, which is money, as legal tender, does not discriminate. It can be in the hands of a thief. It can be in the hands of a white man, hands of a black, hands of the young, hands of the old.
True.
Money in itself does not discriminate religion. That's why you see, you can find young people who are very wealthy.
Yes.
And old who are wealthy.
Yes.
But I also realized, most importantly, that money doesn't have a particular religion.
Yes.
That's why you see, Muslims have a lot of money. But Christians also have a lot of money. But then people who also don't believe in God, atheists, have a lot of money. There is only one thing that is common: a belief system. So money has no religion, but the people who pursue the money must have a belief system. And that belief system is chosen by you individually. You can say that me, the belief system I will follow in pursuance of life, in pursuit of life and everything, is Islam. So you follow the Quran. Surah Al-Baqarah, when you borrow, you don't put riba. Or you can go into another belief system. So the belief system I chose was Christianity. I usually tell people, if I had gone to the UK to study without knowing about Christ, I was going to return a Buddhist. Because I met my housemate, who was called Unjoel Chaparia. He was my classmate at University of London. His way of life. I want to tell you, Herbert, this boy, as we were struggling to look for jobs in UK, he got a job. He got to know that there were openings at Domino's Pizza. And he told me, Newton,
let's go.
There are openings at Domino's Pizza. Let's go together. If I don't get it, you will get it. An Indian talking to a Ugandan that if I don't get it, you will get it. I couldn't believe him. And he didn't stop there. When I had just gone to UK, I struggled a lot because in my visa, they had put 10 hours.
You can work for only 10 hours.
10 hours a week. Yet by law, it's supposed to be 20 hours. Now, notice that by wisdom, I could not complain while still in Uganda. Because they would say, but you said you have money, you man. How can you have...
And you're going to study.
You're going to study. How can you have over 250 million on your account? And then you're arguing to get 10 more hours to work. So out of wisdom, I didn't claim. But when I reached there, I claimed. Little did I know that when you say you want to have your hours corrected, you have to hand over the passport. And then they move it around to where they give you the visa to correct it. That process took a month. What was the consequence? I couldn't open a bank account.
True.
What was the consequence?
The stress.
I couldn't get a job.
Yes.
No one is paying cash. They want you to register your bank details such that they pay you. So I had no bank account. But because I am not only book smart, I have a degree from the street. I talked to that Indian friend of mine and he gave me his bank account. So when I was working,
the money was going to his account.
Exactly. I could register his bank account and I would go and tell the manager, I have put a bank account which has those names. It's because they are still processing money. He helped me with this bank account. My money would reach him, he would pay it as is. But the most important thing he did, and I'm bringing all this background to come to your answer.
Yes.
The most important thing he did is, there was a time my landlord wanted his rent. The banks I had borrowed from in Uganda wanted their money. My university told me I wouldn't do exams if I had not finished tuition. So there was a time when I was reading a letter about you will not be in that house till you pay rent. And another one, you will not sit exams till you pay that fees. And another one, we are looking for you in Uganda, but when we find you, you will have to pay us. And that guy got £5,000. He gave me £5,000.
Wow.
But it was also his tuition. So at University of London, you can arrange with the university to pay in installments, where you pay every 3 months. So his parents, being very old, they did not want to overgo to the bank. So there was a time they sent him a chunk for the next quarter and the other quarter also. So the man said, I had organized with the university that I would pay this later. And this later, I can help it with you. So he gave me an amount. I put it. I did exams. So I did not have work to do to help me feed myself. Every time I would go to pick, I did get a Domino's, he got. And every day they would give them pizza. He would eat pizza at Domino's and then come with what they have given him to me. Now notice that when we finished studies and I could not get a job in the UK, I came back when I had not paid him. But he was calm and he said, I know we have all fallen through this. I also can't get a job, so I understand why you can't pay. That's why I was telling you that if the most truest individual I've ever met is that guy. And if I had not known Christ, I was going to follow
his influence was really strong.
Exactly. So that would also show you that Christ has had a huge impact on me as my belief system. I do not feel bad when people worship any other religion. I'm the first individual who had a relative who told me that he was a devil worshipper. But I could not fight them. I could not even feel bad about them. I could even bring them in my house. I wasn't bothered by what they believed in. Because the world has been designed that what you call God will be God. That's why you see, when Moses got his staff and threw it down, it turned into a snake. But the other magicians also, their staffs turned into snakes. The only difference was this snake ate the other snakes, but they could also do snakes. Now, why biblical? I read the Quran and I read the Bible. But I have found the teachings of Christ manifestly amazing. Could you believe that in just 2 verses, Luke 14:28 to 30, Luke chapter 14 verse 28 to 30, Jesus summarized architecture, civil engineering, quantity survey, structural engineering, project management, warfare, information security. Do you know why we have embassies? We have embassies such that the owners of embassies coordinate information about other countries. Now, in Luke 14, verse 28, Jesus is saying, who among you wants to construct a tower, but does not first sit to know the cost? If you do not sit to know the cost, you will lose all the money in the foundation. But that's not where he stops. He says, the passers-by will look at the foundation and laugh at you. They will say, look at this man. He thought construction is easy. He has even failed. And he continues to say, which king interested in fighting another king does not first know the mighty prowess of ammunition of the opponent, such that when he realizes he has 20 guns and they have 1,000 guns, he will say, let's sit at the table.
Let's discuss.
Now, I kept on marveling and marsing and thinking and abstracting on his words. And I was like, okay, everyone has a path they will take. But this is the path I'll take. And I figured that every money lesson I would want to teach has a backing in the Bible. But the people who are saying those things in the Bible have no MBA, no PhD, no degree. So I wonder, how would they be this wise? You get the idea? So Jesus is saying in Matthew 18:18 that what you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and what you loosen on earth will be loosened in heaven. What that means actually is you cannot have 1 billion shillings in your earthly presence until on your account
it has been loosened.
It has been loosened. But it also is saying that you are the one to bind. You are the one to bind and you are the one to loosen. So when you think through it, what are they actually saying? That you are in charge of your wealth. Everyone will tell you, people who have regrets will tell you, man, my parents had all the fees, but I'm the one who jumped out of school. He's the one who bound himself. He jumped out of school. When you ask people, hey, but why are you no longer having a relationship with that woman? Man, I messed up. It's me who messed up. You're the one who
bound everything.
Exactly. So when you read that verse, you realize Christianity is not telling you. That's why I usually tell people, Christianity is not telling us even to pray, to be wealthy. It is deliberate. It's telling us that we will have to plant. Because Ecclesiastes 2:26, they are saying, for those who do the things God loves, He gives them joy, gives them knowledge, gives them happiness. And to those who do things that displease Him, He gives them the burden of amassing wealth, only to hand it over to the righteous. When you read these verses and you think through them, it's what is happening. People steal your money to hand it over to the righteous. You get the idea? So, I found it imperative to back up every message I have with scripture, such that they do not say it's me who said so. There is a reason why the Bible is the most printed book in the world, and there is a reason why Christianity has the most followers. They all can't be stupid. But most importantly, if the Bible has stood the test of time, then my words will always have strong backup when I tell you, even if you read. There was a time I was advising Ugandans and I told them, I came up with a proverb. Tossa sente mutulo nga tonnakola sente ng'oli mutulo. So I was telling Ugandans, don't put money into construction of a house such that you've put money in sleep before you make money while you are asleep. The internet went ablaze.
You got pushback. Because the common saying, feeling, expectation is as soon as you have your job, the first thing to do is to build your residential home.
I think if they could access me, they could lynch me. And I was amazed. This is something I said a long time ago. But recently, the Katikkiro of Uganda also came and emphasized it.
Yes.
And they were like, I hold him in the highest of reverence. So, I also love it that he came out to also say it. But the thing I was sharing was worth, let's say, like 3,000 years old. I was sharing Proverbs 24:27. Solomon, the wisest, is saying, first organize your business and living. Then go and build a home. They don't want it, and they pay a hefty price for it. Just walk in any suburb, and you see the amount of money that has gone in unfinished real estate, where someone tried to put up a home. So they try to put up a home. It's so expensive. They can't complete it. Now, when you want to sell an incomplete house, the buyer does not want your house. Puts you at the value of the land. How about, we know we want a home. must buy the land. You keep quiet. You use this other money to help us grow other things that bring more money, that bring more money. We stay renting. Because if we pray to stay longer on earth, then God is going to grant you up to like 85 years. Do you think the house you build at 30 will still look marvelous at 60? You're into construction, you can tell me. A house you put up at 30 years. I bought an E-Class in 2015. I bought a C-Class in 2009. I bought an E-Class in 2015. And I bought an S-Class in 2024. But this Mercedes C-Class I bought in 2009, when I look at it, I'm like, why was I even dying to get this car? When I look at it today, it lacks the oomph.
Yes, yes. It's not even practical.
You get the idea?
Yes, yes, yes.
But if I tell you the story in how I struggled to get that Mercedes, I handed over my Golf, I handed over money, and I drove, then I couldn't get more money to complete the payment. And they had to take it. I felt so bad. So bad. And I was like, I will get another Mercedes. So in 2015, when I got an E, I looked at it, marvelous. I drove it for 10 years. I just handed it over recently. But when I got an S, I was like, we should wait. It is actually true what Mzee Radio, the late said, and Rizzo. Ebirungi biri mu maaso.
Yes, yes.
The good things are in the future.
Yes, and they don't get finished.
The best iPhone hasn't been made.
No.
The best Mercedes hasn't been made. I can promise you that when they finish the car, then they have to make a report on what it lacks. All manufacturers, the moment they say this has been finished, then they will have to write a report on the concept of a future car, which is the understudy of the lackings of this one.
Yes.
But for us, the consumers, we are not privy to that information. We kill and fight. When you tell people, you want a house, delayed gratification. Take some time. If you pray and you want to live on earth for 85 years, you're still fat. What's the rush? Be renting. And I give examples. Do you know the real name of Centenary Bank? Mm-hmm. Do you know its original name?
No.
It's called Serodeb.
Centenary, yes, Development Bank. Yes.
It's called Centenary Rural Development Bank.
Yes.
We shall come back to the other words later. Let's start with the rural. What does it mean to be rural? They started from the villages. Asking people, you save, give money with us. But when you look at Mapera, in the CBD, how can a bank that starts by calling itself rural have the most prominent building at the central business district?
In the real center.
In the real center on what we call Kampala Road.
I think even that plot number, the block is 1 or something like that.
I'm telling you. But they started rural. So how? It means if we start, you start by having the end in mind.
Yes.
But you're not impressed by the current. They're not impressed by the current. That's why I usually tell people that the hardest time I ever faced was when I had just finished campus. It's a very hard time. The corporations who are employing want experience. You don't have it. You yourself, you want good things, but you don't have the money.
Yes.
Your family knows that you've finished studies, so they're asking you what next.
To take you.
So they are asking you questions. Do you have a job? You say no. So most of the answers will be no. Do you have a job? No. Do you have a wife? No. Do you have kids? No. Do you have a car? No. Do you have a house? No. That's why I usually say your current situation is going to be a building block for the future if you actually put in the time. And you fail to look at the distractions. I call them ephemeral distractions. Everything is going to be short-lived. So you need to concentrate. You look at the current, but you not allow the current to distract you. It must be in John 15:19. John chapter 15, verse 19, where Jesus is saying, be in the world, but don't be of the world. The communication is, you can be in a place where you see all your fellow employees are getting married. And you'll be like, this is my diary. You can say, I will marry after buying land. You've put a condition precedent to marriage. So every time you check yourself, have I bought land? No.
So you can't marry.
I can't marry. Because it's marriage, it means I'm going now to be responsible. In Uganda, there is a word called chibanja. Do you know its origin? Chibanja. When you became a youth, your father just holds your hand and takes you to the land he has. He holds your hand, takes you to the land he has, and he says, from that corner to that corner to that corner to this corner, I've given you this piece. Then he starts the demands. That's why you see it's called a chibanja, because okubanja is a demand. Now he mentions the demands. I want you to construct a house. I want you to grow food here. I want you to marry from here. When you hear the drums for Gwanga Muje, you must come. You have to go to the elder of this area and you give the kanzu. So you must pay all these. So all these demands make it a chibanja. It's what grew men into responsible men. So your father would just come and say, but I gave you land and you have not yet constructed. Then you rush, you make blocks, you get reeds, you get the grass, you put the house. You go, look for a woman, you bring the woman, they advise you, you bring the woman. Then you bring kids. So those demands would grow you and mold you into a man. Now, when it comes to us, because we lack those demands, maybe from home, maybe because of population increase, it's now going to be very hard to find men who are responsible. I even think it's the reason why when our girls tell us that they are pregnant, we tell them, and we take off. But ideally, the things which in the present make you fall into distractions are the things you have to give up on. And you organize your life and say, the people around me are marrying. It doesn't mean I have to marry. The people around me are constructing. It doesn't mean I have to construct. The people around me are borrowing money. Everyone has a salary. Just because you qualify for a loan doesn't mean you should take it. So you move life at your pace with a goal in mind of where you're going. That way, I feel that way, it will help you win. And finally, to answer that question, where I said why I back up with scripture, I back up everything with scripture because I realized scripture is life. Everything we say, everything we pursue was already said. We're just living through it. It was already said. Can you believe that there is Wi-Fi in the Bible? Okay, there is Bluetooth in the Bible. And I usually tell people, you know when Jesus is healing the lepers, did he touch them? Isn't that Wi-Fi? Okay, if you do not want to call it Wi-Fi, isn't that Bluetooth? Healing by Bluetooth, where he says, you guys, go. So, God has been good, and I advise people, whatever your religion, make sure you understand the rules of your the rules and principles of your religion. Because whatever you believe in can take you to the destination to the extent of its strength. To the extent of your religion's strength. That's why I can't fight anyone because they are not Christian. I can't even tell someone that, why don't you join Christianity? Christianity is better. I can't. They should experience where they are and they say, I'm no longer enjoying this side. Where do you think I should? They should be the ones to come and say, I'm not enjoying my religion. Where do you think I should go? But I see you happier. And I say, if you want my religion, let me share with you my religion. Do you know this guy? You must be the Bible. People will read. People should, like the Indian guy.
They should tell from your fruits.
I looked at the guy and was like, this guy here.
And this was attributable.
Yes.
To his religion.
He was, I think those guys who are, they have elephants and all those. There was a time we were going to discuss and I came with my laptop and I pushed those things away. The guy, I didn't know he wanted them in place. But I should say that I've loved Christianity. I found every teaching, that Jesus guy, every teaching.
That Jesus guy. That's funny.
Yes.
That's funny. I like that. What is one financial belief that you have that maybe a majority, I would say 90% of Ugandans would not agree with?
Ugandans. I think I would struggle to convince Ugandans that corruption can't make anyone wealthy. Corruption can't make anyone wealthy. And yet, everywhere you go, in everybody you go, there is some element of corruption. It's a disease. If you bother to learn about money and you look at the backing, you read the Quran, I think it will be chapter 13, verse 11. And the Quran is saying that Allah will not bother to change anyone unless that person has changed themselves. And what they're trying to say that perhaps if we try to abstract on that verse and that ayat, if you want to be wealthy, then you do the things of the wealthy. When you read Quran 13:11, chapter 13, verse 11, and you juxtapose it with Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11, where they will still tell you dishonest wealth dwindles, but wealth collected little by little grows. You realize that corruption agrees with that verse. But Ugandans are determined to say that where there is the money, you get it. That's why if you just do a random survey and you go anywhere and you ask, if you picked 10 million from a bag, what will you do with the bag? And you dare mention that I will go to police to announce the bag, such that the person who lost the money finds it. They will say you're the most stupid individual alive. Because we still have that belief that we can take what is not ours, and the consequence will be wealth. So it follows that we have not differentiated between being rich and being wealthy. You see, being rich is when you have the money. But being wealthy is different. You have an enterprise. You put effort in the enterprise. And wealth is the consequence. So being rich is not a consequence. If we were working here and I forgot my wallet and it has $10,000 and someone dishonest picks the wallet and I say, guys, have you seen my wallet? And everyone says, we've not seen it. That person will actually be rich because they have a wallet which has $10,000. They are rich. So you see, rich is not a consequence. That's why it even fades. We just wait. So they will get that 10,000. They will tell them, your mom is sick. Your kid wants to go back to school. What do you, he buys a second-hand car, $10,000, gone. You can't sustain because you were not even prepared for the 10,000. You were even surprised that I keep 10,000 in the wallet. But wealth is a consequence of accumulated discipline. If you inherit land, you've not inherited wealth. You've inherited accumulated discipline. The one who bought land must have sacrificed with the discipline that they should buy the land. So what you've inherited is actually accumulated discipline. When you look at an enterprise, look at what you put in for us to have this show. We're in a real estate. There is camera, there is microphone, there is light. Look at the ambience. Now this is on the journey to wealth because this is now an enterprise. You're putting in effort. What is effort? Planning, advisory, time. It follows that because you are a farmer, because wealth, when we are dealing in wealth, we are farmers. We are planting the seed. So because you've planted the seed, top-notch interviewer, top-notch guest, top-notch camera crew, top-notch environment and ambience, the consequence will be wealth, but it will be accumulated discipline. You must do this not just as an afterthought. Consistently. You come and say, what can we improve? Is it the venue? Is it the light? Is it the technology? Is it the research? Is it the review? The understanding of the reviews. So when that is the habit, wealth is automatic because it will come as a consequence. It's like having unprotected sex. The consequence is known. So if I tell Ugandans that you see corruption, look at the corruption in this country. People are corrupt because they do not know any single idea about financial literacy. if you know how money works, you wouldn't steal the money. The very first way to know that that person does not know how money works is when they are comfortable stealing it. Check any movie in the world, whether based on a true story or based on fiction. No thief in that movie robs a bank and they get that money.
I agree.
Who got the money in Prison Break? They went to Utah and got that money. Scofield didn't get that money. T-Bag didn't get that money. They all didn't get that money. But remember, that money they were picking had also been stolen by a guy who told them that he stole it, but he was on life imprisonment. So what is this thing in money that people do not want to understand? That dishonest wealth dwindles. I can say that like 1,000 times. You could do your own research by looking out for all the people whom you lent money and they didn't pay you. How are they faring? But do you know that they are not happy? Because there is a way God designed debt that you can't forget a debt. I lend you money and you take 5 years without paying me. When I call that phone and you say my name like this, you'll be like, huh? What is he going to say? But I never paid this guy. Let me not answer. You see the idea? So I usually tell people, and corruption is hard to leave because it's a drug. That's why I feel usually very sorry for people who are corrupt. It's a drug. It's like someone who has been held hostage by cannabis, someone held hostage by alcohol, someone who has been held hostage by pornography. They're already dead to me. They will need rehab. So this country, because of the high level of corruption, people are not becoming wealthy. The real wealthy. They are rich, they have the money. But when they check what they have set up, they also struggle to realize that they do not have anything. So they have to stay in the system to survive, you see. Because when you're addicted to alcohol, the only thing you know is drinking. Even when we tell you, why don't you leave alcohol? We find you when you're drinking more. And why don't you leave pornography? We find you when you, with another video. So it follows that when I see the things we are doing, I can't help but wonder, when can we incorporate financial literacy in our way of life? I read a report, I think it's by the World Bank. It was trying to look around to check countries where financial literacy is in the people there.
Yes.
And it didn't surprise me that the Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, those are the most financially literate individuals in the world. Check their habits. Are they stealing from each other? Are they abusing each other? Are they killing each other? What are the things in this country we are struggling with? Roads, hospitals, schools. But some people will say, give us the roads, and they do not give us the roads. They also need the roads. They also need the hospitals. That's why you see in this country, when now someone dies, we say, let them also feel the pain. But it shouldn't be like that. So, I know Ugandans will say, where there is money, get it. But money has been designed that it will watch you. Someone is abroad. He will tell you, Herbert, sell me that condominium. You tell them the money. They buy the condominium. When they come, and it is as you described it, when they come, and it is as nice as you mentioned, they can't shut up.
Of course.
They will call their friend.
Of course.
There is a friend of mine. He's called Henry Sally. He's in Canada. He was walking and he found people discussing land. And he told them, if you're buying land in Uganda, Newton. And they said, what do you mean? He said, your conversation
should include.
I heard you guys mention land, but if it's land, Newton. And they reached out to me. Canada. I did not call him to ask him. But you see, when you do wrong to people, they don't shut up. But also, when you do right to people, they don't shut up. They will say, that guy. So, Ugandans must also know that actually relationships are better than the actual money. Me walking out of this door, when you're happy to call me again, is better than you telling me that, for this show, I've given you this money. You just saying, I can always call him and we do other things. I have that is in real estate. Yeah. Let's also do other things. A relationship. But look at how we sell. We sell things we can actually ascertain that they don't work. And then make sure that we have written a receipt such that we say, goods once sold are not returnable. So that when they return them, we say, how come you gave me this? There is a posh restaurant in this country. They sold me a drink. I drank. But as after drinking, I felt something that was hard.
Aftertaste.
I removed it. I held it. I called the manager. I first paid.
Just to be clear.
And I told him I've paid, but now we're going to discuss this. I found this particle in the drink. I did not want to discuss this particle, such that you think I'm holding it as a premise not to pay. I have paid, but I found this particle in the drink. He went and called his superior and they said, we have done some research and we noticed where we cut lemon from, it's a plastic board and it has particles leaving. It's very possible that as we were collecting the lemon, it went and contaminated the drink. Now we have two things. We want to give you your drink. First of all, we're sorry this happened. But we want to give you a drink and your spouse on the house. I've always mentioned that story. Like for forever. I can't shut up. Because they did something outside the norm. But look at our guys. That's why I usually tell people, Uganda is the only country I know with the potential to build billionaires overnight. Because we have nothing. No restaurant, no hospital, no pharmacy, no petrol station. We don't have a single petrol station that can serve 100 cars in one go. 100 cars, we don't have a single petrol station to serve 20 cars in one go. 20. We don't have a single restaurant that can serve 100 people in one go. If they all turned up without announcement,
we'll shut down.
They turn up and say, Matoke binyewe.
It's true. I'm sorry for cutting it short. We had two things.
Yes.
one about the returns and one about this point. This point that you just mentioned, we had a guest here, and he said that it was really off camera.
Yes.
But he said that he finds it a challenge to get his family to go and enjoy their money.
Okay.
Here in Uganda.
Okay.
He said, there is no place for me to really enjoy my money. I don't want to be flying out of the country all the time and coming back and doing all the things all the time.
Yes.
But when I look around, there is no place for me to do this. So when you say that it is possible to build billionaires overnight because there is nothing, it is true, there is a gap.
Absolutely.
There is a gap. There is a gap in the service industry, in all these things.
Everything.
There is a gap.
Yes.
To the point of the returns, in foreign countries, the US, etc., returns are the way of life.
Absolutely.
If you go and buy something and you find that you do not like it, you take it back. No questions asked. Either they give you a replacement or give you the whole money and you shake hands. There is nothing wrong.
Yes.
No question asked at all. And the research shows that less than 2% of people try to defraud the store by returning things. Let me buy it, I go, have a party, bring it back. Less than 2%.
Exactly. And that 2% they can handle it.
Yes, it is okay. And yet the benefit to the customer
is 98.
Knowing that I can go to that store, buy anything, and return it with no question.
That's why I
will always go there.
Yes. And human beings work in very funny ways. Let me tell you a story. When I was still studying in Gombe, I went to Gombe SS for my O-level. They were not allowing radios. It was a law. It was a rule. It was a regulation. No radios. But guess what? We all turned up with radios. You find someone has cut their mattress, there is a radio. Someone has put in their shoe a radio. Someone has put in the middle of bread, they remove some slices, put a radio. Everyone has a radio. Then I go to SMAC. In SMAC, a radio is allowed. In fact, it is the administration that buys you a radio, and every dorm has a radio. No one comes with a radio. So there is something about human beings and how it is important for business people to study the psychology of human beings. When you allow them to return, then they come willingly to buy on the premise that even if it doesn't work, they will return. But then they never have to return.
Yes.
But the moment you tell them that they cannot return anything, it comes from a premise that you are also purchasing without doing thorough quality control. So you start selling things when you can't back up what you're selling. That's what it means. All people who do returns, they go in the purchases and handle the quality control. That's why if people started doing quality control, we would be a better off country. But in this country, you can find a road which has been worked on, and then when it rains, the road gets a pothole. And you're like, in this country, a very short, narrow passage can be worked on for a month. Very short. 100, not even 100 meters. Let's say 15 meters can be worked on for a month. Yet the Japanese will tell you that for us, if 100 kilometers have been hit with an earthquake, we will do it in 2 weeks. It has nothing to do with God. It has more to do with the attitude of the people who realize that I will only earn what I'm worth and what I have worked for. I've been told that here, projects, people delay them or make them expensive. Actually, it's so hard to build in Uganda. The amount of money you would use to construct in Uganda, you construct 2 houses in South Africa. 2. 1, 2. If you look at the bill of quantities people give you, if you look at the transactions people are doing when they are construction is a foreign exchange here. Cement comes, cement leaves. One construct, what is happening? And that is why people are asking, where is the money? They can't see the money because they have not prepared a bedding for money to rest. They are doing all those funny things. I told you get your cousin, you put him in the shop, and you tell him we are going to try. Things won't balance. They're misusing the money. So I can tell you, it will be a mindset shift. I'm told in Japan, up to like 13 years, people have just been taught how to relate with others, how to be kind, how to value property. That's why you see when Japan comes for the World Cup, they can't leave their dressing room dirty.
Yes, even the stadium, they stay behind. They clean the entire stadium.
And that is Japan. Yes. But that can't be taught when you're past 18. That is taught at elementary, 2 years, 3 years, where the kid cleans the plates. The kid tries to be like washing what they're wearing. That responsibility. When they go, it's a way of life. But here we have old, mature people. They do not know that actually it's not a good thing to take someone's land. But they're willing to take the land and they're willing to sign a signature. And they're willing to come to court as witnesses that it is their land.
Yes, yes.
Then you will ask yourself, okay, anyone who is in charge of this entire universe, because now we are seated on planet Earth and it's moving. You are not in charge of its moving. I'm not in charge of its moving. But the person in charge of its moving is interested in balance, such that it rotates. They see light as these ones see night. It comes back. Those who didn't see night, they see night as those see light. The person responsible for that can't want scales which are not measuring to balance. But that's why I told you that it's important for people to be spiritual. Because when you now tap into the spiritual dimension, you start asking yourself, what does my God want of me? And you realize that all dimensions, most of them, their gods want them to do good, at least to themselves and their people. You get? So I hold the view that it would first take our fathers to die, then also us to die. I think the people we've given birth to.
For the system to clean up.
Yeah, because the system does that. If you people can't clean up the system auto cleans. That's why biology exists. So, but I have a feeling it will be our kids, either our kids or their kids, but most importantly, our kids, when we will be the ones to clean the system. But whomsoever would want to clean the system would have to think about the minds first.
I have a question.
Yes.
You're touching on what I wanted to ask actually.
Okay.
If you look in terms of guidance, I would say, what foundational steps for financial stability should someone have, especially if we're trying to clean up this system?
Okay.
What is someone looking, what should they do?
There are two things. You love football or you follow football?
Unfortunately not, I'm sorry. But you can use the analogy, no problem.
In football, there are two forms of how we can play. We either defend or attack, or we can choose to attack and defend at the same time. But notice, when you defend, the game ends in a draw. When we concentrate on defense, we do not let it any goal. We do not let in any goal. We defend. We head out the ball. We kick out. The game will end 0-0. It's a draw. We can choose to say we have an approach. We attack. So when we attack, it means when we get the ball, we go score. We go score. We do not mind our defense, but we go score. What that means is by the time they blow the final whistle, the game we would have conceded many goals, but we've also scored many. So it will end 10-8 in our favor. In financial literacy, we've asked people to defend. The way to defend is to control expenditure.
Saving.
So you ask yourself, you start by asking yourself, where are my tanks? Which of these tanks have open taps? You close the taps. That awareness of closing taps requires you to know your expenditure. It's very important to know your expenditure. What are the things that are taking your money? Where does your money go? Money will only flow to 3 avenues. Either you're buying a product, or you're buying a service, or you've given it in charity. That's how the money you have will go. With the exception of, Banzibi, I've lost money. Right. But if they have not robbed you of your money. These things that take my money, these are the open taps. Which tap can I close? Am I spending a lot on electricity? Am I spending a lot on water? Am I spending a lot on fashion? Am I spending a lot on salary? Am I spending a lot on fuel? Am I spending a lot on my mechanic? Am I spending a lot on eating out? Am I spending a lot on food at home? Am I spending a lot on the employees? You will need to know that. Failure to know that, it means you are collecting water in a basket. Anything that pours there goes must leave. So that awareness. Then after knowing what, you see, defensive, I've told you, is good, but the challenge with defense, there is no winning.
Yes, no progress.
Because you can cut some bills up to a level where you can't cut them. Because you can cut the expenditure on electricity up to a level where we must have light. You can't say, let's now do away with electricity, then we shall be in the darkness. This food here, let's just be doing some fasting. For how long will you fast? So, defensive approach is limited because there are times when you can only do so much. And the defensive approach has knowing the expenditure and cutting on the expenditure, but most importantly, budgeting. And to budget, I usually tell people, I give people the analogy that money is like water. When you don't give water direction, it goes everywhere and anywhere. That's why you see, when they are doing plumbing, they give water pipes. What we call plumbing works is piped works. You imagine that pipe bursts Do you see how water behaves when a pipe bursts? Where is it going? Anywhere. So a pipe gives water direction. That your heated water, we want you in the shower. Your cold water, we want you in the sink. Your water for flushing in the toilet. That is the direction. When you do not give, imagine if sewage doesn't get direction. It just moves all over. You've moved in Kampala when it rains. That is water without direction, and the sewage comes through the door, goes everywhere. So water needs direction, and that's money. You only give money direction with a budget. And I told people, what is budgeting? For many, it is making sure you list the things to do before you do them. And I add a little notch higher, and I tell them budgeting is when you say, I have a kid whom I want to take for daycare. Then you tell the mother, look for a school. I have 700,000. So she will go and see a school of 1 million, of 1.5, of 2 million, of 3 million. But you said, You have 700,000 for the school for that particular kid. That's budgeting. Budgeting is when you say, I have 100,000 for a shoe. They bring you a shoe, it is really so nice, but the moment they say it's 130, you say, I have 100,000. The moment they say it is 130, you can pay the 100 cash, and the 30 we will banja you. You say, please, show me a shoe of 100,000. That is what they call budgeting. You enter a supermarket and you say, groceries. The groceries we use for a week are for 50,000. You enter with 50,000. When they are scanning out these things and it is 70, you take out everything that will cost 20 and you stay with 50. That is what they call to move within the budget. If you do not want to do that, then you have to use the attacking approach, where even an expenditure won't matter. Because if you wake up one day and you have $1 billion shilling in a unit trust and it's giving you 10 million per month, you can afford even to spend. The idea is I wouldn't want you to overspend, but the issue is to attack is when you increase your source of income. You get to ascertain that working as an employee is good, but it doesn't hurt to use my more time to consult in the evening or the weekend. It doesn't hurt to learn another skill, and I monetize the skill. So there, you are actually attacking. So those are the pillars I see. When you monetize a skill, you are, in essence, adding on your source of income.
Yes.
When you start thinking through how to appropriate money, I think it's in Ecclesiastes 11:2. They say, apportion your money in 7 ventures. Indeed, in 8. Because you do not know what disaster will hit the city. Solomon is using that verse to tell us that you might be a dealer in coffee and you're happy with coffee. Then something might happen. And they say, only the government will deal in coffee. What will you do as a coffee grower? There was a time when Amin was a president and he said, now all land belongs to the government. Think about the people who were now in real estate at that time. You've been cut out. So imagine if you are into real estate, but also you are into transport. If it happens this side, you're this side. You have managed the risk. But also what people need to know is that when we tell them to diversify their portfolio of income, we are not telling them to do it at one go. I do not want people to say that I told them to apportion their money. Now they're into transport, they're into agriculture, they're into real estate, they're also working. That's not what I want them to do. I want them to do it, but in an orderly way. If you read Genesis, the story of creation, you realize that God did not go ahead to create any other thing on the next day until he saw that this was good. The story of creation every day ends with, and he saw that it was good. So it means if your first venture, you're into you're into buying and selling cars, before you go into dealing in coffee, make sure the buying and selling cars
is okay. It's running on its own feet.
All the wealthy individuals I know, there is something that they first perfected and they saw that it was good. Currently, as we look, we have Sudhir as the number one real estate guru. And yet he didn't start constructing. The man was in Premier Rotary.
Yes.
But Premier Rotary was a hit. After it was a hit, he went into banking. After banking was a hit, he went to buildings and real estate and construction. After they were hit, he went into flowers. At no one moment was he asking Ugandans to takura in Premier Rotary while he's growing flowers, while he's setting up buildings, while he's lending money.
No.
He was following the steps. Mandela, at no one moment, perhaps he started with, I don't think he started with petrol stations.
No, tires.
Because city, tires.
Tires, yes.
He realizes that he's into a business of attracting car owners. But then he looks at the car and it's like a car also consumes fuel. So we shall work on your tires and the alignment, but it will take fuel from us. After those were good, every place which was for tires has a petrol station, has food. And then we say, man, cafe drivers is great. But it's great because the fuel, city oil, was great. City oil was great because city tires was great. Now he has added Mandela Millers. He has moved from fuel. He has gone to flour. And it will also be good. So he is apportioning his money. But after seeing that, this is good, then he continues. But very many Ugandans think what they call to diversify is to make sure you do everything
at the same time.
So you find them, they have a school, they have a farm, they have trucks, then they open up a hardware. Then the next time they tell you, they're stealing our money in the hardware. We are going to sell off these trucks. But parents are complaining. It's because none of them did you follow Luke 5:4 to dig the same hole deeper. Our smart motto, Duke in our tomb.
Yes, launch into the deep.
You launch it. When you dig the same hole deeper, you come up with systems that work. You come up with the pillars of the business. You know how to market, how to deal with employees, how to deal with the money that comes, how to deal with operations, and how to strategize. You will pick that model. It will go and work elsewhere. Go and work elsewhere. Because when you launched in the deep here, it gave you all the necessary tools. And I usually tell people not to fear when they make mistakes. You see, life has been designed that it's only when you make the mistakes that you will progress. And plans will go wrong. I think it's plans will go wrong is in Genesis 6:6. It must be Genesis 6:6. That's where they are calling Noah to construct the what?
The ark.
The ark. Would you believe that that is the very first time they tell us that God's plan did not go as planned? He had created mankind to worship him. But when he looked at mankind was gay. Mankind was killing each other. And he told Noah, you know what? I have to restart this computer. You build the ark, I'm sending a flood, we are restarting. If God could restart, I also want to fail and restart.
And it is okay.
And it is okay. But the challenge with people is when you give them a quotation from the Bible, they will tell you there was no ark. There was no Noah. But it's not the ark and the Noah. It's the lesson. You're missing out on the lesson. The lesson is whomsoever they are calling to be that great as a God is restarting. So if he's restarting, it means if that is my belief system, I am okay to restart. So failure is also very key. But the challenge is our school system has trained us that it's an abomination to fail. When you get 20%, the school will send you for your parent. When you get 98%, you will be the one to put on the pedestal. You will be the one given a scholarship. See how life turns it around. The guys who are not actually performing so well, they are the ones who are actually performing so well in business. The guys who are not performing well at school, it's because they no longer fear now failure. For us, when we are too much into school and books, we want everything to be conventional. We fear to fail. We fear mistakes. But life has been designed that mistakes will help you in your attack. You attack, you realize every time I do this, they don't do. You attack in a different way. You attack in a different way. You attack in a different way. But the goal is we cannot only just save money. We cannot only just control expenditure. We can control expenditure up to a level where we can't control anymore.
Then you start generating.
Exactly. Yet, when we attack to increase income, there is no limit.
Yes.
There is a limit to expenditure.
Yes.
But there is no limit to what we can get in as income.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
True.
In your own history, when you look back, maybe some pivotal moments when you actually had that change in your mind and say, I'm going to attack. What happened?
So, usually when you have a change in mind that you're going to attack, the very first thing that comes is fear. Fear has been inherently built into our systems that we won't even try. And there is a quote I read where they say that fear is the only thing standing between you and actually what you want to achieve. There is also another quote I've read that the earth is the deposit of the greatest ideas that we never got to know. Because people are buried with those ideas and they never started. So I've looked at very many pivotal moments I've had. And one of the greatest things that I have learned and accepted is that someone is in charge of the universe. You can't convince me otherwise. Last week, my mom was involved in an accident.
Oh, sorry.
But if you look at the car,
Where she was,
you would stake your whole entire property of real estate combined. If they told you that this is the person that got the car, this is the person who was in that car. She left the car intact, scratch free. Have you heard of iPhone 20? Most of these people are still with iPhone 16. Mom left the accident scene scratch free. But you should look at the car. It even has no roof. Wow. So you will ask yourself, when that happened, did she
Did she
then
take cover?
and for even her, she can't tell. So there are very many verses that we have to read in tandem for that particular thing. We have to read John 10:10. The devil comes to kill, steal, kill, and destroy. And I usually tell people that if disaster faces you and you're not dead, you're still winning. You're still winning. There are things, Herbert, that will happen where you had no hand. My mom can't convince me that she's a great car driver, that she survived the accident.
That's not the reason.
It can't be the reason. I have told of a story where I was involved in a heist. That didn't happen. We almost lost 1 billion Ugandan shillings to guys who were super stars at cookery, master forgers, fraudsters of the toppest of notches. They found me. They knew I was lending money. They wanted me to lend them money. And I asked them, how much do you want? And they said, 800 million. And I told them, I can't lend you 800 million Ugandan shillings. Because number one, I do not know of any business that would repay that loan in that time. But also, what are you staking? And they said, we have land by the lake. We can stake our land. And I told them, okay, can you show me the land? And they presented me land. They said they had a court case and they realized they had to pay off probably a judge. But instead of giving the judge land, which were 4 acres, each acre valued at, let's say, 200 million, they wanted to get the actual money. So they told me they had land at Webaja, 14 acres. I was like, instead of lending you money, why don't you show me that land? You give me powers of attorney. I have clients who want to buy. I would survey it, partition it, get titles. I only need to sell 4 acres. I get my part for selling. I give you a part. And they agreed. I sent Dennis, my surveyor at the time. He went, surveyed the land, surveyed the whole entire land and the 4 acres. We then did a division of the land and we were subdividing it. We saw the plots that we would do in the 4 acres. So I advised them that the 10 acres can actually stay. I'm going to only deal with the 4 acres. Mm-hmm. So while I was there, my campus friend called Paul Semial told me, I met him. I met him at lunch and I told him, by the way, I have land which I'm petitioning to sell plots. And he said, oh no, I have someone who can buy. So he connected me to a friend who would buy the whole entire 4 acres. So I didn't need to petition them.
Yes.
So he also sent his surveyor, they checked, everything worked out. I told the guy, bring me now the title, and I see it. So he came with the actual title and it was original. Showed me his original ID, his original passport. The title was original. The passport and ID were fake. But still, I did not know at the time because they all looked. Mm. So we had agreed with the buyer. The buyer would give me 1 billion. So I had agreed with these people that I would give them 750 for the 4 acres. I would take 250. we were to pick money from two banks. We would pick the 750 from Centenary Bank. We would pick the 250 from DFCU. So we entered DFCU Bank. The wealth man, the buyer checks the money on, he has like two accounts. He first picks, he withdraws 80 million. We give the men 80 million. Cash. They put it in the bag. Do you know what is remaining for them? 670 million. That's when God intervenes. These guys said, can we have the money in dollars? That question of can we have money in the dollars, God intervenes. How? Now we need a rate. So the buyer goes up in Centenary Bank to look for the rate, to look for the guy in Treasury to give us a rate. The guy is not on his desk. Comes back down, goes back up, comes back down, goes back. He's distraught. He says, what is happening here? Just looking for someone to give us a rate and you know. So as we're waiting for the person to give us a rate, a message comes from Lands with the pictures from the system of the buyer, of the owner. So when we see the pictures and we see these guys had impersonated a professor. They were signing like the professor. They got someone as old as the professor. The only thing that was different, he wasn't the professor. But they had built the most beautiful of stories. They were believable.
They had received the money already.
The 80 was in the bag.
Yes.
So when we told them that the system shows that actually this actual land had been subdivided into 3 pieces. The guy, to jump out of the net, he started arguing with this so-called son. Naye gwe Katongo oba waleeta surveyor ne mukyusa ettaka lyange kati bagamba nti no already baalisazeesaze mudda tugende ewa kiso ogenda kumpulya. So he created a scenario that his fellow fraudster, whom he had presented to us as the son, had, if it was true that he had gotten surveyors and they had done that fraud on his land, he was going to get him like out of his will. So we are also in shock, but we had believed them so much. And we first got the 80, put it back in the bank. And
they gave it back freely.
Yes, they gave it back freely. So they walked out, and the pretext was they were going to land. But as we stayed there, we said, where did we go wrong? Because the title was original. Then we started to look at how we had done the transaction. I got the IDs and sent them to a friend in the bank. And they realized they were not original IDs. Then I said, how did someone on the system in Lands tell me that the actual title exists? And that's when I realized that when you're in Lands, and the best thing to do is to ask for a search report, because the search report should come out of the system. Now, when the land has transactions on it and they are not yet complete, the system won't produce the search report. So initially we would do these transactions where we would just call someone on the system.
Yes,
check for me plot 20, check for me block 230.
Is it there?
Plot 1. They check, it's there. It's in whose names? They tell you the names, you're like, okay, let me go transact. And I want to promise you that we moved now up to the land to meet the professor. And we met the professor and the things he told us. And then we got to know. That's when I got to know that it will reach a time when your level of knowledge is done, and then you need an intervention. If those guys had not asked for a dollar rate, for the balance to be put in dollars, the withdrawal was on, and they were going to move out.
And they could have changed that money into dollars themselves right there. You give them the cash, you walk out, they get the dollars, and they walk out.
Exactly. That's when I realized that you cannot tell me that this world is just rotating on its own. Personally, you can't tell me. That's why I let people be in their belief, because my belief system tells me someone intervened to save me $1 billion. Because the man loses $1 billion, you are an accomplice.
Of course.
And you have to pay.
Of course.
So that was a pivotal moment for me, to know that every plan I have, then I have to add. That's when I do the plan, then I added the prayer. And I ask God, may this plan not go through if it has consequences not to my benefit. You see, we pray wrongly. For us, we pray to always get, and when we do not get, we are angry. Why didn't you give me this? Why did you do this to me? Yet a prayer can be as simple as, God, you've given me a chance to get this scholarship, but may it fail if you know the outcome is not for my benefit. That's also a prayer. But you notice that in law, you cannot have prayers unless they are premised on you first telling court that you deserve those prayers. So if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you have any belief system, and for you, the first thing you present are prayers, chaos. You have to show court that, you see, this person is saying, I took their land, but I have the title. I did the search. I did the survey. They do not have a title. They do not have possession. They do not have this thing. So court, these are my prayers, that you declare me the real owner. You declare him a trespass. You ask for declarations after doing something. So I realized we pray wrongly. Prayer must come on the premise of what you've done. That I have gotten the man. I have gotten the man. Now God help me stay along with the man. If you haven't gotten the man, you say, I've worked on myself to be a good wife. So you can get me a good man that is befitting of me. And if I find someone, even if I feel he's a good person, but God, you see that the future with this man is chaotic, deny me that. That's prayer. And for me, that's how I pray, and that's how I run it.
I like it.
Yes.
To give our viewers some scope on the work that you're doing, do you have maybe some clients that you can share that you've worked for, the work you did for them, so that they can see?
AB Bev, when they brought Nile Breweries, they put me in charge of training. I think it was my friend called Daniel Jolova who also connected me. We were training all bar owners in the country. I can't forget my friends called Globetrotters. Globetrotters, I think they're the largest movers, but they usually call me to speak. I've worked for Airtel. The Airtel Circle people call me to speak to them. I mean, like I've been everywhere. We recently, there are individuals who come, and then there are companies, then there are large corporations. We've done, I'm trying to see through all these individual, but on the individual level, there are friends I have who have entrusted me to say, you be the one to talk to my family. You be the one to show me this. So I think my clientele has ranged. I remember when I was on CBS, there was CBS Peosa. It's the largest group of individuals, largest group of savers. But there is a lady called Madame Florence. She called me to speak to them, and they have moved through leaps and bounds. So when I was at CBS, I found a friend called Mr. Senkai. He followed me, then he learned how to diversify, and before we knew it, he had opened up like 10 branches of electronics. There are stories of people who come to my office and they tell me things, and there is a certain pharmacist, it's called Brian. He came to me and told me during that time he was earning like 500,000, and he had, a pharmacist is allowed to supervise a pharmacy,
yes,
but also work.
Yes.
Then I told him, I think your potential is bigger. Your potential is bigger. Then he thought about it. He ended up finding a bigger job as a pharmacist, which gives him 4 million. He ended up starting up his own pharmacy. And he was so impressed. So when he came to me and told me, you remember when I was earning this amount of money, and now it has moved to this amount of money. I was like, this is why we are here.
True.
So I have looked through the whole entire range. Recently, we were at Green Hill Schools. Green Hill has like 5 campuses, 5,000, like 7,000 learners at any one moment. Now they collected all the teachers, put them in one room, and they said,
proceed.
There was a time NSSF got me in a hall of like 2,000 people. Every border, has a leader. Now they got all the leaders. And they said, teach them
like a border stage.
Yes.
Leader.
Every border stage has a leader. Now those leaders combined.
Yes.
So Enterprise Uganda, I'm a child. They are the midwife of House of Wealth. We've still up to this very day worked with Enterprise Uganda. And Enterprise Uganda linked me up on a World Bank project where the World Bank wanted to give farmers money, but then they said, let them first learn financial literacy. So they sent me in the West. So I was in Mbara, I was in Ntungamu. I went up to Mirama Hills, a place called Moko, to teach them how to receive the money, because they were going to receive money in hundreds of millions of shillings.
Yes.
They could write a proposal to get 800 million, 1.2 billion. Now they had to first learn how to write business plans. So the World Bank, Enterprise Uganda, the list can't be exhausted for all these years. But also, we need to know that it's not House of Wealth until they put it on.
Yes.
The people who have put on House of Wealth, there is a Restoration Assembly Church. They were the first people to give me the opportunity to speak about money in 2008. Wow. That's 17 years ago. Bishop Frank Butai and Queen Helen Butai, I'm forever in their debt. During that time in 2008, I was a registered money lender. So because I was praying from that church and I always wanted to be speaking about money, they said, when we have these missions, you'll be talking about money. So I honed the skills. I started putting scripture because it started in the church. So I had to put scripture. I came closer to scripture, came closer to research. So Restoration Assembly Church put me on, and Queen Helen in particular was always telling me, "Man, amagezi ngoyina mangi. Lwaki amagezi ago gasigala naawe?" As in, she
was even seeing the bigger picture.
Yes, she was never comfortable that I could be having this knowledge on financial literacy, and it could only be shared in the church. So she talked to her friend called Farida Nakazibu. That's how I went on TV.
Of Mwasuze Mutia.
That's how I went on Mwasuze Mutia. So it was her husband, Bishop Frank, who told Farida that, "You think I'm good, but I'll bring my wife." So the wife was also telling Farida, "You think I'm good, but I'll bring Newton." So they brought me, and I told people my story, and it was a sold out show.
Wow.
Everyone was relating to how I struggled with loans. And then I went abroad and I struggled with studies and winter and all that. And then I got a job, and then they could not get me a work permit. Then I had to come back. So they related to it. It is a story of disaster and triumph. So MTV put me on, Mwasuze Mutia put me on, and now all the other TVs. There is a lady called Mumbeja of Bukede. She saw me on Mwasuze Mutia and she said, "Bukede TV also wants you." So I went there. Then Maurice of BBS TV. He was like, "You come on." So I went to BBS like that. Then someone in NBS, they said, "We have Prime News here. You speak on the Prime News about the big business segment. It's just 3 or 4 minutes, but you will be the one." So that's how they built Newton Buteraba, the brand. Moses blessed Wamala and my spouse and the gentleman called Mogalu Paul. They said, "This thing you have, why don't we put it on social media?" They opened a Facebook account. So I said, "Let me do podcasts every Saturday." So I did every Saturday, and people started joining, started sharing. So what I realized that you can't do it alone. You need a coalition of the willing. And people must come when you give them value. Like I told you, Herbert, wealth is a consequence
of deliberate
action, accumulated discipline.
Yes.
As in, wealth is right now, even if I chose not to work for the next 10 years, there are people who call me and say, "I have 100 million, I want to send it to you. What do you think I can do with it?" But they want to send it to me. You get? They find comfort in sending it to me, to be with it as we plan. They just say, "Professor, what do you think we can do?" "Professor, there is land I have. What do you think I can do?" "Professor, I started up this thing and it didn't work. I sold it off. I have now this money. What do you think we can do?"
And the professor term is because of this constant trainings.
Exactly. Now the professor term comes from, there are people who are wowed. For me, I do not. For me, I just speak.
You're used to it.
Yeah, for me, I just speak. And then someone says, "But the way he has explained," because I used to tell people, I'm le professeur, which is French for the teacher.
Yes.
So I keep on telling people, "Nze musomesa asomesa abasomesa abanasomesa abasomesa okusomesa abasomesa 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 abanasomesa abasomesa okusomesa abasomesa abalisomesa abasomesa okusomesa abasomesa abanasomesa abasomesa okusomesa abasomesa abalisomesa abasomesa okusomesa abasomesa 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 abanasomesa." So you see the loop is to infinity.
Yes.
So because I tell them I'm le professeur, which is French for the teacher, for them they see professeur and they say professor. So the nomenclature is stuck that they call me professor. But then also, when they find out that I have 4 degrees, they're like,
he's a real professor.
This guy is a... But I see a body of work that has not been able to be built by me alone. Someone out there brought cement, brought bars, brought sand, brought water.
True.
Someone was the architect.
True.
I haven't told you in this whole entire story that my dad is my mentor and is my mastermind and is my financial advisor. But he has no degree. It's me with the degrees, but it's him with the wisdom. Everything now I want to do, I just bypass it with him. And I hear his view.
Is your focus group?
Yes, I'm like,
man.
Yes, I'm like, if Mosea has seen this one, I can argue with him. He knows. Every advice he gives me, we can argue for 2 hours. But he later realized that the reason I argue with him, it's because I want to see his conviction in the advice. I wouldn't just take it.
Yes.
So I challenge him. He puts it. I challenge him. I challenge him. The moment I realize that, if Mosea is carrying that conviction,
it's okay.
I'm moving with it. Then I do it. So House of Wealth has been built to what it is today because of the people who appreciated our message, the people who have supported us over the years. When we're done with this, I'll show you the people who are I told you, in 90 countries. There is a guy called Dr. Hal. Dr. Hal picked my videos from TikTok and shared them on his Facebook. And the videos accumulated 150,000 views, 150,000 followers on his Facebook page. In a space of a month.
Wow. We
are talking about people in Nigeria, Nepal, Botswana, Cambodia. I used to receive calls and someone tells me I'm in Lesotho. I'm like, Lesotho?
I've never been there.
I've never been. Then they tell me, now I'm starting up a money lending company. Advise me. I'm in Vietnam. Someone calls you and they're Vietnamese. And they want advice from a Ugandan. Someone calls you China, someone there in Japan. And I was like, wait a minute. This thing we are doing is bigger than us. And because money is the universal language, that's why you see people who are broke in US, if you see, they are no different from broke people in China. They will all be struggling with food, shelter, clothing. They will all be struggling with budgeting. They will all be struggling with one source of income. So money is the universal language. And that universal language has a syllabus. That syllabus is financial literacy. You get financial literacy, you're on top of the world. Money wants us to have the same habits to be attracted to us. That's all I have to say.
Newtons, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes.
I have definitely enjoyed it.
Yes.
I've learned a lot.
True.
I've learned that money is a visitor.
Yes.
To find a clean place so that it can stay.
Absolutely.
I really wish you success in your work.
Thank you very much.
Continued growth. Keep impacting the people.
Thank you very much.
And overall progress in everything that you do.
So, number one, I would like to thank CEO Insights Uganda. What I can promise you is this journey we're in, it's not even a journey of 1,000 steps. It's a journey of 1,000,000 steps. The way it pays out, you're dealing in a currency that has no equal. Because when you put out a message after a great interview, you will not know whom it has impacted.
True.
And never lie to yourself that there is any machine that will show you who has been impacted.
True.
You remember when Jesus helped the 10 lepers, only one came to say thank you. He asked where the 9. So if 2,000 years ago, 1 out of 10, which is 10%, would come to say thanks, 90% stays hidden. So what you will see as CEO Insights Uganda, and people say, this is a very nice show, keep doing this, keep doing, those are the fewest. There are people who will be impacted, but they would say
nothing,
and they will continue.
True.
You get. But also the beauty it has is when you keep doing good, life pays you. Life pays you. For example, we've now created a bond. We can no longer see each other the same way.
True.
We are like, he hosted me.
True.
I shared something which he received to give to the world, and he was comfortable to give it to the world. He was standing with the word. Because you can also receive the message and you say, what? You're a messenger.
Yes.
Your channel is a messenger.
Yes.
You know, not all messages reach.
Yes.
So you can hold on to the message and you say, this message is too good. I want to give it to the world. So I have to thank you for the time, for the effort, for the machines, for the ingenuity where you say, let me call him. There is a reason why I'm the caliber you host. So I want to thank you from that angle. But most importantly, to thank you for being part of the financial literacy movement. In this country, every other sector is ahead of us. The obscenity sector is ahead of us. We even can't compete. The corruption sector is ahead of us. The political sector, people who are going to give views on politics, they are more than us and they are ahead of us. People who are going to talk about the different things, they are ahead of us. But we need channels like you. When channels like you also consistently keep putting out financial literacy work, we have a movement. People get awakened. And when the people know, and they jumps 120 to what they know, we will have results. And the attribution will be, now you realize that I'll say, I want to thank CEO. You get the ideas, but I want to thank you for that.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.